What up, peeps? It's your girl, Dosh. Come back to Film Takes. Well, it's that time, guys. It's movie review time, and this is for The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. First off, let me just state I will not be spoiling anything in this. I'm going to keep it as close to the bill of not going over anything. I don't want to take anything from anyone who wants to see this, of course, either at home or in the theaters. I will say I am a fan of The Conjuring franchise, of course, being that it spun off some other things like, the Annabelle series and also the prequel was The Nun. And being that it all centers around work coming from James Wan is always what makes me excited to see anything he puts forth. Now, I know with this one, he produced and he wrote the story, but he did not direct. This is directed by Michael Chavez. He also did The Curse of La Llorona and actually did enjoy that, for what we got for that particular movie. This one, of course, with this being another sensationalist, case. Of course, the first movie I love because, of course, it's centered around a family, dealing with supernatural entity in a farmhouse. The second one dealt with, the Warrens going to North London, dealing with a mother and her four kids, dealing with, of course, supernatural, aspect. This one, of course, is dealing with a little bit of that as well, but the way it's centered is centered around a character or young man by the name of, I want to say, Arnie Cheyenne Johnson. This dealt with a case that happened in Connecticut back in 1981. And of course, when you see the way they set up in the trailer, of course, this cop comes across, a dazed, confused young man, on the road, whatever, all bloodied. So pretty much him, his case, him claiming that he was dealing with demonic possession. Now, I will say this, the opening of the movie was done very, very well because it set the tone. And I did enjoy that. If you saw in the trailer, you just don't know where the scenes are. But of course, you're dealing with what it looks like to be a young boy, who's being possessed, whichever. And let's just say that his brother steps up to the plate and wants him to be released. I think it's, just saying it was like, get out of him, whatever. No, and that's what sets up the tone for us to deal with the young man, of course, becoming possessed and certain things start to happen. Hence when you see him bloody, some things transpires where he ends up getting, locked up. And that's when we end up dealing with the situation where Ed and Lorraine definitely come back into play, in this. I won't spoil exactly, how we know he comes back into play because something happens with that opening scene that was really interesting with that. But I will say this overall with the film, you can tell the difference in the way it's done. The first good hour or so, whatever, and all that was just like really on par, definitely intense, with the scenes, setting up, the young man, at first, when he's at first possessed, whatever, nothing kind of happens and small things start happening. He starts seeing things, whatever, and all that. They're not, of course, don't happen to be there. But only he can see, trying to sleep, whatever, and all that, feeling drained, whatever, tired, whatever, and all that. And then to the point with one particular scene where it sets in motion, the heinous, crime of him, pretty much, killing a man. And I like how we do see how Ed and Lorraine do come back into the fold and decide they want to help them with the case because, of course, the attorney at first is kind of hesitant, doesn't want to be bothered, whichever. But then when they, tell her to come over, let's talk to her and all that, you see in a scene where she's sitting there, and that part was always been funny, and her realizing, okay, I didn't think this stuff was going on out here. Whatever they showed her set her mind straight. And it's like, there's a lot more going on that you really realize, for that instance. Now, the other half I will say in regards to the film, there's things happening, and I'll just put it like this, just like I said, not to spoil it. You kind of get a little bit of an idea of certain things being maybe satanic wise, might be dealing with a little bit of, cult aspect, and definitely more of a detective style approach to how they're going to do this particular case this way. And because in the other two, that does not happen. So I'll just put it like that, say that much. Didn't mind that. There's one actor that was in here that I was very excited to see. And I'm trying to remember if I can remember his name. It's not coming to me. But needless to say, he was on the show Fringe. And he played the dad. So I'll just put it like that. The name is not popping in my mind. But that was a nice little added touch because he added to the overall storyline as to how, certain individuals or whoever or might be possibly in regards to what's happening, transpiring, whatever, and all, where he lies into this interesting whole take or whichever. And I will say, I did like a little bit of the backstory we get with Ed and Lorraine dealing with some of their own little issues, and then seeing flashbacks of certain things that are happening. That was really done very, very well. But I will say one thing that was missing for me per se, because the first two definitely gave us a lot of it. I was missing the tension build up of certain scenes coming. Definitely that would incorporate the scare parts, not jump scare, just scare overall. To see freaking out, about okay, what's about to happen, whatever, and knowing something is definitely getting ready to happen. And then when it does, whatever, it gives you a little bit more, little creepiness to it and all that, This one didn't have that, definitely towards the last part of the film. At the beginning of the film, definitely, but definitely not towards the end aspect of it. So that's where you can see the difference between Chavez's, work. But like I said at the beginning, you can see a little bit of certain instances of how Howard James Wan wrote the story, where he probably partaked of whatever certain things, the way Chavez was able to put it out with his directing, skill set. But overall, I will say I really did enjoy the film. I'm wondering if we're going to see a fourth installment. Truthfully, that depends on if Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga wants to do another one. I'll say the ending, they can probably leave it up to interpretation, whichever, because as they always end the movies, very nice and lighthearted, whichever. And then, of course, you see the ending credits where we always get a little bit of an idea, from the overall case they're working on, being if it's news clippings, maybe we might possibly see maybe a tad video, but it's normally always the audio, we hear from, whatever's happening in regards to whatever that entity or supernatural that's probably taking over, said, young man, young woman, girl, whichever. So I'm really curious to see, and I'll keep my eyes glued to see if they do another one. But like I said, they're gonna really have to do, and if they do, I might not be the only one that's gonna say this. I would prefer James Wan to come back and do the fourth installment. Nothing against Chavez, he did great for what we got, but I will say this: you can definitely tell the difference in that, because I will say it like this: as much as I did enjoy this film, out of all of them, I like the second one more so, and then the first one, and then I'll use the third one to be the last one, whatever. I like it in that actual order. But I will definitely tell you, yeah, the creepiness that I was really getting was definitely, I was feeling it in the second one. So, and it was truly missing a little bit in this one. So, but with that said, overall with the rating, I'll give it about a 7.5. So overall, I can say yes, it was. I said if we got a little bit more of the, little scariness or whatever and all into whatever and all that, then it would probably have been perfectly done really for me. But that's to each his own. That's just how I preferably feel in regards to this film. But other than that, the overall storyline was perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with that. Setting up the stone for the young man, him dealing with, having, a girlfriend standing by him, this and that and the other, all while he's going through all this stuff, whichever, and us dealing with all the things that are happening, culminating around them to try to deal with this, so this, evil won't take over him, being too close, trying to keep their grasp on him, things of that nature. So in the end, did enjoy it. That's pretty much all I have to say about that. So with that said, you guys, comment below. Try your best not to spoil it in the comment section. I would like to know some of your thoughts, if how you guys felt about it as well. And with that said, I'll see you guys in the next movie. You guys take care.